Hello, this is Laith with another program I wanted to show you guys today that focuses on productivity and allowing the interns to do more work for you. Um, take take responsibilities away from the foreman and put it on the interns, and helps create an accurate bill of material. So this is a wiring devices log, and basically takes off your wiring devices, the plates, and also helps you quantify the engraving for these device plates. So certain projects like hospitals are more and more requiring that you engrave device plates. So that's what this program does. So anyway, you give it to the intern, and he or she sets up the drawings. Each drawing is associated to a level and an area. Then they go in and they enter right off the panel schedule all the different panels that are on the project. And these are different columns that customize the project to your specifications, basically. So for each panel, it'll say panel dependent device color. For example, your specs may say all normal power panels, any receptacle feeding from them needs to be white device color. So red for emergency, orange for UPS. Panel dependent plate color. So for example, this would apply to like your plastic plates. So usually the plate, the plastic is dependent on the panel also. It's very rare that you see like a stainless steel plate that's painted to match the color of the panel. But so if it is a plate that is dependent on the panel, so this is a normal power panel. So picture that you're going to have a white device with a white plate. For an emergency panel, you'll probably have a red device with a red plate, and the UPS, they'll probably want orange with orange. And again, it all depends on what your spec says. And then panel dependent plate engraving color. So if the plate color depends on the panel, then the engraving color is also going to depend on the panel. So for normal panels, if the device is white, the specs is most likely going to say that it needs to be black engraving on a white plate for a normal panel. And if the plate is red, then it'll be white engraving on a red plate. And for UPS, in this case, the plate is orange. I just used red. But again, it depends on your spec. And then here is panel independent plate engraving color. So if this applies to independent of panel. So for when the plate is independent of the panel. So this is a normal power panel, PP1A. If you have a stainless steel plate and it doesn't depend on the panel, you're going to want to engrave that black. And if you have an emergency panel, you're going to want to engrave it red so they know that this is fed from an emergency source. And then I just used orange as for the UPS. So picture a stainless steel plate. If the specs said that stainless steel plates don't need to be painted to match the device, and there's a device being fed by a UPS circuit, then the spec may say use orange. Again, this also depends on your specs. So here's where you set up your devices and your plates. So in my project, I said if it's a plastic plate, the plate these are these are the different materials of plates that I'm going to have on my job. You may not have as many. You may just have plastic plates, for example, and galvanized on a project, or you may have a hospital that requires stainless steel plates. So this asks you, does the spec require that the plate color be dependent on the plate? So if it's plastic, is plate color dependent on device or panel? For plastic, the plate color will depend. So if it's feeding out of a normal panel, it'll be a white plate, white plastic plate. If it's feeding off of an emergency panel, it'll be a red plastic plate. So for stainless steel, if the spec says your stainless steel needs to be colored to match the device, which is rare, it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. So you have the option here to say, for example. So in my project, I said stainless steel does not depend on which panel it's being fed from. So all stainless steel plates will be stainless steel finish. Here's where you set up your number of gangs, how many different gangs. So this would be like a duplex or one gang. This would be a 2-gang, 3-gang. And your device types, this is where you set your device types up. You could have regular duplexes, tamper-proof duplexes, GFIs, tamper-proof GFIs, weatherproof GFIs, isolated ground, and single receptacles. These are just different types that you could have on your project. So here's where you say device color only if independent of panel. So the spec may say I want all isolated ground duplexes to be orange. So this is where you indicate that as an exception. So no matter what panel it's being fed from, whether it's an emergency or UPS or a normal power panel, they're going to want this isolated ground to be orange. And then the device plate color, same thing. No matter which panel it's fed from, they're going to want it to be orange. And then here's where you list, for example, a device and plate style, only if device dependent. So like a GFCI, that's going to be a Decora, for example. A tamper-proof GFCI will be a Decora. This is going to need a Decora plate, and this will need a single plate. You're not going to put a duplex plate on a single receptacle. So this is an exception that you need to list here for all your different devices. So this is where you do your takeoff. The nice thing about this program is what it does is when you're done, you're going to have an exact bill of material for all your devices. And then not just that, but all the plates. And you'll have all the engraving information. So what you do is you take the spreadsheet and you can sort it by concatenate plate, and you can send it to an engraver, and it'll tell them exactly what to engrave which plate. So it'll tell them the plate type and what they need to engrave it with and what color. So they and then what they can do then, and I've done this on a project, like say for example you have a hospital. What they can do is bag all the engraved plates per room and box it per area or per level. And then when your field gets the plates, they're going to get them in these nice little boxes that are bagged per room and boxed per level. So it'll save so much time that they're not having to go through and dig through all these different boxes just to find plates. They'll know exactly where each bag goes. So let's do a quick takeoff. Just like my lighting program, if you've seen the video for my lighting program, you just indicate this reads off the areas. So you've got tower, level 2, and these are the drawings for level 2. It's customized to your job. You got lower level, and these are the drawings for the lower level, and the different. So you can select central plant, for example, roof, and that's the drawing for central plant roof. So we'll do the tower. We'll start with, let's say we start with level 1, and let's say we're in room 1. So just imagine that that your intern is looking at a drawing, and he or she's going to start their takeoff. So you indicate the plate material. Let's say we have plastic. You indicate how many gangs it is and what type. Let's say it's a duplex, and you indicate which panel it's being fed from and the circuit number and how many of those you have in that room. And let's say it's a Decora. When I click on Add Device, the program automatically tells me I've got 6 red duplex Decoras because I have 3 2-gangs. 3 quads basically, which gives me 6, and it knows that it's red. It's a red duplex Decora because it's being fed from an emergency panel. And then it tells me how many plates I have. I've got 3 2-gang red plastic Decora plates. And then it'll tell me that they need to be engraved in white color. And this is the engraving that they need to do, the engravers. So I would send this information to them, and then I would send this information to my purchasing department so they can shop the wiring devices for me. And that way the foreman is not doing the takeoff in the field, and it's an intern in the office that's doing it. Let's pick another device. Let's pick stainless steel, 3-gang, tamper-proof, fed from a UPS panel. Let's say it's circuit 5, and there's 2 of them. Again, so now it's telling me I need 6 orange tamper-proof duplex Decoras and 2 plates, 2 3-gang plates that are stainless steel Decora, and the engraver needs to engrave them with orange color, and it needs to say UPSP-1 circuit number 5. Let's pick something else. Let's do bronze plate, 2-gang, GFCI duplex panel, PP1A circuit 5, 2 of them. So it tells me white GFCI duplex Decoras. I need 4 of them. And it automatically knows it's a Decora, even though we didn't tell it it's a Decora, because it's reading from where we set it up. We told it that in the event that the user selects a GFCI, automatically indicate that it needs to be a Decora, and 2-gang bronze Decora plate. So again, the plate is going to be a Decora because this is a GFCI, and I've got 2 2-gang plates. And since it's being fed from a normal power panel, PP1A circuit 5, the engraving color is going to be black. So again, just like the lighting program I made, at any time if you have a question, you need to write an RFI. This is the other nice thing about these applications is when you're doing your takeoff in the beginning, or your interns doing their takeoff in the beginning, they can go through and they can catch a lot of mistakes that your foreman will, be catching last minute while he's installing the material in the field. So might as well get it captured in the beginning. For example, if you have a device that's being fed from another a panel on another floor, you want to write an RFI just to clarify, maybe to change the circuiting. So that's it. Thank you.